Thank you. I'm very excited to be here today. I mean, how often do you get a full room of people from HR? And maybe the ones that are not in the field, they might not be thinking straight, AI, HR, there's a connection. But honestly, I think HR is going to be one of the most important and pivotal agents in this AI transformation that we're living today. But before we dive right in, I really want to ask you a quick question, and I want to ask you to raise your hands. How many of you have come across people saying that AI is going to take their jobs? Yeah, for those watching online, yeah, it's pretty much everyone's heard of that. Now, some among you may believe that, some not, but humans are very interesting, right? We're really focused on that fear, and the fear really comes from the unknown. But we've been through this before, right? If you really think about the first industrial revolution, back then, people already believed that machines were going to take all of our work and then we'll have nothing to do. And I think we've been still pretty good at finding something to do and finding other work to work with. So it's really about that deep fear of the unknown. What's going to happen with me? What am I going to be working with in the future? What will be my role if everything gets automated at some point, right? So yeah, it's my mission today is pretty much shed light on that unknown and really share with you my recommendations on how to best navigate the transition from the information age into the imagination age. And let me take you on there you go. Let me take you on a little trip. We're going to start with information age. I think the name is pretty self-explanatory, but for the ones that have never heard of it before, we're talking about the dot-com, the boom of the internet, that time that this new world, digital world, opened up in front of us a few decades back, right? And the determining factor, like very intrinsic characteristic of this period, this age, is that we had finally access to vast amounts of data, something that we couldn't really do before. You were very limited by the here and now, the physical barriers, whether you were an individual or as a business. And then we started being able to get to know more about our clients, really collect, process, storage that information. It was really the computing power that allowed us to leverage the power of data and democratize information. Just quick clarification, data is actually the numbers, but they don't really have value on their own, right? Information is that value, how you translate the numbers into the decisions, the conclusions that are really going to help you take action from there. And we saw two really big emerging trends in the workspace with that. First one, of course, technology. You know very well. There was a huge need for a lot of talent filling that new gap, building and maintaining that new technology, basically digitalizing the whole society. And then there was another one that was very much linked to platforms and that new space that had appeared in front for experts to share their knowledge, to share their voice, and also other people to consume that knowledge, right? I'm talking about content creators, I'm talking about influencers. Those didn't really exist before. We couldn't contemplate that could be a job one day. But there you go. That's what digitalization did. There was this new surge that happened. And it was thanks to that democratization of the information that we could all benefit from that and share information with each other and grow. Now, what was the key economic drive during this period, or is still, since we're still in between worlds, right? It was really how good you are at really consuming that information and analyzing the information. So analytical skills have been essential. It's really been the center point of this age. Now, let's move a little bit fast forward. Let's go into the imagination age. AI comes in and it changes the rules of the game a little bit. Also to clarify, since we're in between worlds, We still see entities, businesses, individuals that are in the information age, a bit more traditional and behind, and we see some that are way more advanced within the imagination age. What do we see with the ones that are already stepping into the imagination age? We see that if before we got access to data, now we're gonna get access to knowledge. AI is gonna help us not just access the data as we did before with the internet, we're gonna get access to that analytical power that AI will be able to help us with. AI will be connecting the dots for us. And what does this mean? Well, we're gonna basically see how expertise becomes democratized. One quick example, if I want to build a business today, I want to do plenty of things and there's never enough budget, right? But the budget that you need today is way lower than before, because before you needed a big team full of experts. You needed the accountant, you needed the expert on tax, you needed also the expert on SEO. So the really core functions, but also like the small implementation execution needed external support. And that's very costly. With AI, what we're going to see is that if you want to go big, if you want to work with one core activity, you definitely need that expertise in-house, and you definitely want to hire a human who's going to be the subject expert and deliver the complete value. But if you just want good enough just to get things started, it's going to be great and okay to use AI for that. So we're going to see this wave of the execution being automated. All that comes down to, okay, I want this to happen. How do I make it a reality? And we've already started seeing that in the virtual world. And with the progresses that we see today with robotics and AI, it's also going to get to the physical world at some point. So we're on a journey. AI is still very early on these days. But sooner or later, we're going to be able to automate more and more of those activities. So at the end of the day, if execution is automated, all the business will be kind of great already at operational efficiency. So if all the businesses are that good at the execution part, because it's been outsourced and it's been done by the AI, what are businesses going to differentiate each other from? What is going to be that unique competitive advantage? It's the same for individuals. What's going to make you different, more valuable? How are you really going to contribute in your future work? And that's going to be precisely with the ideas and how good your ideas are. So what are ideas? It's basically imagination, and they're made out of 3 key qualities that really make you human and are going to be the ones adding value in our future work and our future roles, no matter what you're working with. As you can see here, we do have empathy, your ability to be able to understand others' needs. The second one is creativity, how good you are at coming up with original ideas to solve those needs, ideas that haven't been executed before, thinking out of the box. And the third one is going to be the curiosity. Basically asking why, that feeling of wondering, why is this a problem for the end user? Why is this a challenge for my team member? That's really going to make us want to discover, want to explore, and then keep on being critical along the way. And don't get me wrong, these qualities are already amazing today. You really want to have them, and they've been part of great business always. However, they're going to become more predominant in the future. We're going to be moving away from less of the analytical aspects, and we're going to jump into activities and tasks and roles that are going to be heavily relying on the human collaboration. And to excel in human collaboration, you really want to develop these skills. Now, it's not an easy task to transition from, oh, I need to be great at these skills, and then these are the ones that I should be jumping onto, and it's something that you cannot really change from one day to the next one. However, there is plenty of things that we can already do to shape our own future role and also to help others shape their own roles. And I'm very excited precisely because HR is going to be in such a great position to help others shape their own roles in the future. Empower your teams, empower your team members to define what their next job will look like. Now, what are the top 3 recommendations that I can share with you? The first one, in order to make sure that you own your future role, you define how it will look like. It's of course linked to AI. It's of course linked to the technology, because without AI, you're gonna be outdated pretty fast. And one topic that doesn't get mentioned enough is our role will definitely become to supervise the AI. Yes, AI will automate a lot of things, but who's supervising that AI is doing a great job and really helping us out? So you really want to not only augment yourself, but also your teams. And this may sound very obvious, but I've seen so many businesses that haven't really taken the step of offering their employees an AI training. Not talking about a full retreat, I'm talking about a 1 to 2 hour workshop where they can really get boosted and understand how to maximize the value of AI and how it applies to them specifically in their own skin. So they get engaged and they leverage it to the fullest. The second one is more linked to the skills that we've been talking about: curiosity, creativity, and empathy, which is making sure that there is space for you to innovate. Make innovation a habit. Now, there are many different ways that you can do that. Personally, I block my calendar systematically every week. I allocate time, the same day, the same time slot. So there's no way around it. And there's almost absolutely nothing that is going to prevent me from doing that. It needs to be holy, it needs to be protected, because it's very easy to fall in the operations and drawn in the short term, but then you're going to be jeopardizing the medium and long run. So think about how can you make innovation a habit in your life, and also how do you create a context for your teams and your businesses where they can innovate recurrently and with each other, because it's truly in the power of the teams that you really sparkle that creativity, that empathy, and so on. And then last but not least, I'm going to be talking about curiosity, making sure that you're curious about others. I mean, talking to HR experts, I would be surprised if you're not already doing this, to be fair. But something to reflect on is, how do you communicate this? How do you embed curiosity across your teams and embed it in the culture of the company, so the whole business also develops curiosity moving forward? And there are like plenty of tools. I mean, a couple that I kind of maybe already share with you is design thinking techniques that already encourage people to be more empathic, to be more curious, or the 5 whys that really invite to critical thinking and self-reflection. There is a framework that is literally called the 5 whys. You keep on asking why and why and why. So you cannot become super fully curious from one day to the next one, but you can definitely invite, encourage, and be a role model to other teams when it comes to being curious and critical thinking about what's happening. Why is this colleague of mine having a problem? Or why do they even have a different opinion and perspective on this? Where is this coming from? Because that's where the magic really happens. It sparkles the creativity, you connect with each other, and it really enhances that human collaboration that is going to shine when we work in a hybrid environment, AI and humans. So that being said, I want to wrap up really urging you to think about the one thing, the one smallest step that you can take already today to help you shape your own role in the future or help your teams. Because HR is really going to act as the pivotal, incredible agent that can support the world, the AI transformation in business. And you really have the power to have the impact. So go there and change the world. Thank you so much. For the Q&A. Yes.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much. That was really enlightening, I think. And we do have a few minutes for questions. If Anyone in the audience here or anyone online via Sarah has any questions? Anybody here that has any questions? Anything that any comments? No? It's a shy group here today. Sarah, any questions online? Nothing so far. Okay. There we go. No, you can ask it and I'll repeat it so that the online audience hears. Oh, or do that. There we go.
Seeing like HR people using or TA people using AI, that's you think that, wow, those are really good examples of using AI.
I think there are plenty of like tasks and areas that you can get support from AI. Anything that involves language has already taken like such a huge boost from AI. A couple of like easy, straightforward examples are developing, learning programs for your employees, developing surveys also to understand better what they think and so on, and doing any automation that involves language really. So, I mean, we can take up some specific examples if you like, based on your infrastructure, and then I'm happy to like further develop, but honestly, across the whole value chain of HR and recruitment.
Excellent question. And we'll discuss that in the panel as well. So you'll get more insights that way. Did we have another question back there? Okay, let's see.
Thank you for that interesting talk. What is the best AI tool that we don't know about yet? What should we be using?
Ooh, good question.
I'm gonna say none, probably. And this is because I see this crazy frenziness with the latest AI tool that we need to know about. But it's not so much about that one tool that is going to fix one task. What is really going to bring value is that one tool that is going to cover the full experience when working, when living. So I usually recommend, and I'm against like selecting these many tools. What's going to be best is to have one that can be serving for many things and many purposes, and you can really learn working with it the best. Practice makes perfect. So the more time and the more different use case you apply to the same one, the more it's going to learn from you and the more you're going to learn from it. And, there are a bunch of big LLMs. I'm not going to drop names, but you know which ones they are.
Thank you.
Excellent. Sarah, any?
What does innovation look like HR specific? Like what is it day?
Okay, I'm going to repeat the question so that the online audience hears, but what's innovation for HR? What's like a new day kind of for HR in terms of innovation and AI?
I mean, I think precisely the role that HR is going to play on supporting other people adopt AI is going to really be a huge part of your future work within HR. It's not just about you developing your own AI skills, is precisely helping other humans go through the whole journey of transitioning between the digital world and the AI world. And we're going to end up working in very different ways. You're going to end up working together with an assistant that is not going to know pretty much everything about your work and is going to support you on the different tasks you do. And there's going to be a lot of questions and there's going to be a bunch of challenges to get there. And not only on the immediate observations or effects, but also on the second aspect, because AI and technology is a creation of humans. So we do see the human imperfection in AI, right? That's a challenge with bias and data that we're probably going to be hearing about a little bit in a while. But you also have like the second round, how technology shapes us back. What are those secondary unintended effects? And that's something that I'm truly passionate about, how to get more humanistic profiles in AI development, because it's very hard to get those answers from technical profiles. But you really know how the human mind works, or as much as we can know today, I imagine. And by really getting closer to the AI development, you can share your insights on what could be those unintended effects. What are the individual behaviors that are not positive for the worker when they're working together with AI, for example. That's something that I'm very excited to hear from all of you.
Yeah,
Hmm?
excellent. Thank you so much for answering some questions as well. Thank you, and the round of applause.
Thank you for
again.
having me.